Yo, what is up guys? So today we're going to be showcasing off a new fusion card that is actually really strong when you can pull it off, and that is Necro Fusion. Now, it has a lot more uses, but anyways, it's a new card that just got announced and it's insane. So anyways, you get to fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing materials from your graveyard face down, but it can't attack this turn. So what we're actually utilizing it with, because it doesn't even negate the monster's effect, basically, you're going to be able to Necro Fusion and destroy everything via these two different builds. So, courtesy of DevPRO here, we've got two different builds. One of them is going to be able to go for a Quintent Magician, which pops everything, and then also is immune to a Kaiju, because you can't have your opponent tribute it. And then on top of that, it also has the ability to protect itself from being destroyed by card effects. Plus it has 4,500 attack. And then obviously Supreme King Zark also pops everything, and it's also one of those boss monsters. So, you're going to be able to kind of make some okay-ish fields with the Lightsworn build over here. Technically, it is more random because that's just kind of how Lightsworn works. But you'll see in a second another build here. So first off, the summoning conditions for Quintent to actually gain that amazing effect. It does require 5 spellcasters. There's several different ones in Lightsworn because there has to be 5 spellcasters with different names. You got Lumina, you've got Lila, got the other Lumina, and I guess the other Lila if you wanted to. And there's also Fairy Tail Snow to be another target. And then, obviously, the Perform Mages also can be used in Lightsworn, so it works quite well. So, pretty much all you really need to do is just draw Necro Fusion. And I would say it's not the most difficult to get, 5 spellcasters in the graveyard if you're playing a Lightsworn deck. I mean, that's kind of how the deck works. But, also, in addition to that, the newer card, the Little Minerva card, that one is technically also a spellcaster. There's tons of targets for spellcasters in Lightsworn. But anyways, you're going to see he's going to try to banish the Fairy Tail Snow, but it doesn't really matter because he's going to chain the Necro Fusion, and he pops everything, and he's got a Quintet Magician with 4,800 attack that destroyed everything. Now, like I said, there are 2 different builds in here. This one that you guys are going to be seeing is actually going to be utilizing the Supreme King Zark. So, this monster has a pretty tough summoning condition, although with Necro Fusion, it makes it quite easy. So the summoning condition is going to be 4 Dragon-type monsters, 1 Fusion, 1 Exceed, Pendulum, and Synchro. And then once it's summoned, you destroy all cards your opponent controls. Just like Quintet Magician, just look at this. Pop everything. I guess was running a Riot deck. Not the most meta-ish deck. But nonetheless, I mean, it's just easy win condition. But this build over here is going to be using the Thunder Dragon. So we're seeing like a double replay. I guess a double, double builds here because they are technically super different. But over here, we're going to see it against the Dark Worlds. I'm guessing it's Danger Dark Worlds, but nonetheless, Dark Worlds have gotten a little bit popular. I wouldn't say that they're like super meta, but with Dangers, they're actually not bad. It actually makes it quite viable. Also, Chaos Hunter can be a pretty nasty card to run into because it makes it so your opponent cannot actually banish cards. So obviously we need to get rid of that thing. So we have Into the Void activated. I guess I would say this is a more all-in-ish deck, but the most important thing is that we got the Necro Fusion here. So there's Lumina, got another Lumina. Yugioh obviously can attack over Chaos Hunter quite easy, but we need to get rid of that card ASAP because that's going to prevent him from, well, activating Michael's effect because your opponent can't manage cards at all, which you're going to need to do if you're going to use Necro Fusion. Now, he got lucky and got 2 extra cards. Had he gotten another card, though, he would not be able to activate Necro Fusion because there wouldn't be any space because it has to be from your graveyard face down. I guess you can wait until your opponent attacks it to something, but he's just like, yo, you activate gates? Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and pop everything. And at that point, Quintet Magician, you can't Kaiju it because it can't be tributed, and it can't be used as fusion material. Not that we have like Super Poly and TCG anyways, but it can't be destroyed by card effects. He's actually activating Reveille of Warlords, kind of a dirty card in Dark Worlds, but it doesn't really matter. It's game anyways, because, well, 4,800 attack and pop and everything, pretty good indeed. But I'm just going to showcase off another duel. This guy's playing some type of, was it Sekka, Burning Abyss. I know Sekka Mermails was like, I think the only meta-ish deck that ran Light of Sekka, or Sekka's Light, I guess is what it's called in the TCG now. But anyways, he's got the Perform Pal 5 Arc Magician, which is actually a really good card to stall out with, because it makes it so if your opponent doesn't set anything, which I think this guy's going to regret, maybe he didn't even read the card, because, well, your opponent can't activate any of their effects or attack if they don't have a set card in their back row, which is actually pretty nasty. But anyways, Once again, Necrofusion is going to be activated, pop and everything, and then obviously at this point, it's going to be game over. He's making this deck look really strong. I like that. That's really cool that you're able to basically build a deck almost all around utilizing the banish mechanic and just banishing these cards for, of course, Supreme King Zark. But anyways, now that you guys have seen the gameplay, let's go ahead and go into the deck profile. Now, there are 2 different builds here utilizing this. I actually really wanted to play this card in Heroes. I thought it would be a fantastic card, especially when you can go into the Wonder Driver and then you can go into Soul. Like, there's a lot more like plays with banishing other things, but of course, this is the builds that you guys saw. This is the Thunder Dragon build, which is the Supreme King Zark build, just because it helps you search out things. Plus, I was also thinking that, like, since a lot of things are light and dark, maybe if you wanted to, you could put in some Chaos monsters in here. But anyways, let's get started with the deck profile for this one, and then I'll also give you guys the Lightsworn one after this. So anyways, first off, we have the Gem Knight Garnet, double copies of Zaborg, 2 copies of BCL, great card with that. Well, actually, everything's great with Gold Sark in this deck. And then 3 copies of Avian, 3 copies of Thunder Dragon, 2 copies of Bolt, got the Fairy Tail Snow, 2 copies of Scorpio, 2 copies of Cobra, 3 copies of Lone Fire, 1 copy of the Rainbow 5 Archpedition, 3 copies of Origin, Thunder Dragon, 1 for 1, 3 copies of Gold Sark, 2 copies of Thunder Dragon Fusion, we have 2 copies of Designator, 3 copies of Brilliant, 1 Trap Trick, which is actually a newer card. We didn't really showcase it off, but for the sake of going over the effect, you banish a normal trap card from your deck except for Trap Trick. And if you do, you get to set 1 card with the same name directly from your deck. It can't be activated this turn. For the rest of this turn after this card resolves, you can only activate 1 trap card. You can only activate 1 of them per turn. But yeah, it's kind of a cool card. I feel like it's not really necessary in the deck, though. Again, like, I just feel like if you already go for this, like, you probably won the game. But why hurt consistency? If you want to, just start an upstart instead. And then, of course, 3 copies of Necro Fusion, because this is the Necro Fusion deck. Well, it's the one of them, and then we also have the Lightsworn one. So anyways, let's go ahead and check out the lights. Oh, important stuff, the extra deck. Alright, so 3 copies of Supreme King Zark. You really don't need more than 1, honestly. But, I mean, maybe run 2. Then we have 2 copies of the Thunder Dragon Lord, 2 copies of Super Bolt Thunder Dragon. We have Gem Knight, Seraph Knight. We have the Supreme King Dragon Clearwing. And then we have Supreme King Dragon Dark Rebellion. We got Saryuja, Decode Talker, Trimmer Unicorn Phoenix, and Kaminari Summerification, which I really don't think we showed it off. Saryuja is really good, helps out with consistency, and it lets you draw into Necro Fusion, which is kind of more important for the Lightsworn build because, well, sometimes you just gotta go fast, man. Speaking of the Lightsworn build, let's go check out the Lightsworn one. Alright, so as you guys see, we're running the Brilliant Fusion over here, of course, Gem Knight Garnet. We have 2 copies of Wolf, and then we have Garroth, we have Fairy Tail Snow, which is one of the spellcasters, 3 copies of Raiden, 1 copy of the newer light, the dark one, and then we have the light one. And because these cards do count as different Lightsworns, and then on top of that, they are different names, so that helps out with Quintet Magician. Then we have Trick Clown, we have Damage Juggler, these are also spellcasters. Then we have Felice, we have Hat Tricker, another spellcaster. Janice is another spellcaster. She's not really that good, but again, it's just to have the extra spellcaster here. Then we have the Dark Lila, then we have 3 regular Lilas, and then we have Minerva. Like I said, this card's not really that good. These 3 aren't like the best Lightsworn, I understand that, but again, if we're going to light, I think is Radiant, I think Beast. There might be actually one. Actually, you know what? I think Shire is also Fairy. If we go to Lightsworns, I was actually kind of curious to see if there's actually another spellcaster. Oh gosh, there's so many types now. Where's it? Spellcaster and 1 type of Lightsworn. I think we got all of them though. Yeah, in fact, we did actually run basically 1 of each here. Shire is Fairy. But anyways, we got the Puma 5 Arc, 5 Rainbow Magician. Then we have 3 copies of Soul Recharge, 1 Upstart, 3 copies of Into the Void, 3 copies of Charred Light Braid. He's running 3 copies of Hand Destruction. I mean, you could argue that this card could be a little bit risky because it lets your opponent cycle through cards. But at the end of the day, even if they have a bunch of cards, if they're going for their combo, right, and you surprise them with a Quintet Magician, you pop everything, and then they can't really do anything to this card, and you've already established a board, right? Because, I mean, if you've gotten 5 spellcasters, more than likely you've activated, you know, some soul recharges, some charges. You probably have, like, you know, maybe 1 to 2 monsters on board at least, and then popping everything. Well, next turn you should be able to make a game. Pretty nasty stuff indeed. Anyways, yeah, Hand Destruction could be a little bit risky, just as a heads up. We have 3 copies of Brilliant Fusion and 3 copies of Necro Fusion. Then for the extra deck, we have 2 copies of Quintet, 1 of the Gem Knight, fusion monsters. And then we have, aside from Omega, 2 copies of Yugioh, 1 Tornado, 1 number 41, double Minerva, 1 Leviaire, 1 Dante, 1 Yugioh, 1 Curios, and 1 Mrs. Radiant for, of course, these because, well, the hat trigger. It just lets you kind of like move stuff out of the way. Keep in mind, sometimes you could run into the situation where you have too many monsters during the end phase. Maybe you mill a wolf, and therefore you can't actually go for this because there's no room. But it's still good. Maybe you can activate it after. But anyways, that's the deck profile. Let me know, guys, what you thought of the Necro Fusion. I think the card's insane. Being able to activate Necro Fusion, pop everything during your opponent's turn. That's insane. I mean, that's all spells and traps. That's, you know, against pendulums, that's good. Against any deck that would try to make like one of those big boards. Very good stuff indeed. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the vid. If you did, drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button to see more Yu-Gi-Oh content.